Hunters have known about camouflage since ancient times. But it's only quite recently, since the 18th century, that it's been applied to military operations. The first camouflage introduced to the military was a solid-colored uniform designed to blend in with the battlefield. It was really more of a protective coloring than true camouflage. Camouflage in the modern sense of the word wasn't introduced until the First World War. During that war, weapons such as aircraft, cannon, and warships were painted in camouflage colors. But it was almost never used to disguise individual soldiers. The widespread use of camouflage began in World War II. The Germans and the Russians in particular made active use of it in battle. Nowadays, with the Cold War raging, the Eastern Bloc has been hard at work developing all sorts of camouflage patterns. In the West, the French implemented it in their paratrooper corps, and SAS during the wars of independence in Indochina.
I never saw it used in Korea, though.
America has lagged behind other countries in incorporating camouflage. They're only just beginning to consider introducing it into certain units.
Why is that?
Apparently, there are those in the U.S. military who consider camouflage too passive a technique.
Morons.
You're telling me. But now more and more people are beginning to appreciate how useful and important camouflage can be. I'm sure the brass will see the light soon enough.
Major, tell me about Sokolov's past work.
I assume you already know that Sokolov was the developer of the multi-engine cluster. The multi-engine cluster is exactly that, a system for fitting a single rocket with multiple engines. The Vostok rocket, for instance, had 32 engines. With the technology they had, it was difficult for the Soviets to develop large engines with massive thrust. So instead, they decided to focus on using multiple smaller engines to achieve the desired thrust. With this method, though, maintaining the fuel balance between the various engines was a major problem. Sokolov was the man who provided the solution.
And that's what earned him the job as the head of the design bureau?
Apparently so.
So this secret weapon is some kind of ballistic device?
Well, that's my best guess. We don't know for sure, but...
You'll find out soon. As soon as I get Sokolov out of here.
I'm counting on you.
Those flamethrowers are M2s. They were first used in World War II during the invasion of Guam. The M2 uses pressurized nitrogen gas to fire a fuel mixture of napalm and gasoline. It comes in handy for torching places that are tough to secure with conventional firepower, like trenches and bunkers and pillbox enclosures.
Eva, about the escape plan.
Yeah, we're getting out on a wig.
The ground effect vehicle.
Right. Here they call it an plan.
The Soviet Union has already finished testing one of those?
No, this is just the prototype given to GRU. It was designed to search out and destroy American submarines. That's why it has a long range and a decent speed of 470 miles per hour. It's far beyond the BE-1 developed 3 years ago. The problem for us is that the one here doesn't have any weapons on board. If we're tailed, our only choice is to try and shake them.
I'll leave that to you.
Sorry if I won't have the time to play stewardess for you.
Major, didn't you say that the boss was in the SAS with you?
Yes, we formed the 22nd SAS Regiment together. When the SAS, the British Special Air Service, was first established, they invited the boss on board as a special advisor. In fact, you might say it was the boss who put together Rayforce and L Detachment, which laid the groundwork for today's SAS. You won't find her name in the history books, but her contributions were many and great.
Yeah, the real heroes are never made public.
Not in our line of work, anyway. The dummy run on Heliopolis and the nighttime raids on German air bases in North Africa were her idea as well. Yes, she was always one step ahead of the rest of us, both in thought and action. It's true what they say, who dares wins.
The motto of the SAS.
Precisely. The motto itself is a tribute to her service. Needless to say, the SAS has become a model for special forces units all over the world. In that sense, the boss really is the mother of special forces.
Snake, have you heard about the massacre that happened in the forest near the village of Gnezdovo?
The Katyn Forest Massacre, right?
During World War II, the German army came upon the bodies of 4,000 dead Polish in the forest of Katyn.
Yeah, Germany blamed the Soviet Union, but the Soviet Union denied it, blaming Germany in return.
The truth is that Stalin ordered the NKVD to carry out the killings. And it's not just Katyn. In places like Western Ukraine and Belarus, there must have been at least 20,000 Poles in the prison camps.
Why are you telling me this?
Volgin was one of the people responsible. He was one of the vicious leaders behind it.
Volgin was?
He blamed it on a prisoner revolt to allay any fears, and requested they be put to death. I've heard that Volgin even removed the blindfolds from each prisoner before he beat them to death.
I knew he wasn't all there in the head, but this...
Not someone you could be friends with.
You did an excellent halo jump.
Not really. I didn't land in the right spot. A jumper who lost his pack on the first real halo jump. That'll make a good story for you.
Who cares? There are no records of your operations.
I know, but...
What, you're embarrassed?
No, I'm not embarrassed.
It's the boss, isn't it?
What about the boss?
Nothing, paramedic.
Doesn't sound like nothing.
Nothing to do with the boss, I mean.
It has something to do with the boss, but you don't want to say so.
Yeah, kinda.
I understand, Snake.
The boss has done a lot of work on the military study of halo jumps. And Snake here wanted to give a perfect performance on the first real jump, you know, to show respect to the mother of the technique.
Major!
Snake, I thought you were over and out.
Wow, is that right?
You got something to say.
No.
I bet you do.
Not really. I just think it's kind of sweet of you to think like that.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or an insult.
It's a compliment, Snake. So tell me, is it true?
What?
Not that. Is it true that the boss really worked on research for halo jumps?
Oh, that.
Yes, it's true. Halo stands for High Altitude Low Opening. It's a jump technique developed for covert insertions into enemy territory, just like the area you're in. A plane flies at 10,000 feet or above to avoid detection by ground forces, and the jumper free falls until he's within 1,000-foot altitude above the target area, when he finally opens his chute. By using this technique, the chances of revealing the parachute landing to the enemy are marginal. The halo technique was originally developed in France. This was partly due to popularity of parachuting as a sport since the end of World War II. And the boss was an instructor for the research that was carried out there. In 1957, at the JFK Special Operations Center at Fort Bragg, the boss was invited to instruct at the first ever US military halo school. Of course, none of this is on the record, but she's the mother of modern-day special forces.
Hey, those tanks look like Object 279s.
Object 279s.
Yep. We don't have a lot of details yet, but apparently they're a kind of heavy tank designed to operate in situations involving the use of tactical nuclear weapons. They're distinguished by 2 sets of double treads and a disc-shaped shield, which keep it from flipping over in a nuclear blast. Basically, the 4 treads widen the traction area and increase friction with the ground, while the disc-shaped shield deflects the blast above and below the vehicle. The tank is armed with a 130mm cannon. It's also got a 1,000-horsepower diesel engine, which gives it a decent top speed. As far as we knew, it hadn't been formally adopted because of the high cost of production. But it looks like we were wrong. What you got there, Snake?
Some kind of drug. The label says pentazamine.
Pentazamine? What the hell is that?
Beats me.
Let's ask paramedic. Yo, paramedic!
Yeah?
You ever heard of a drug called pentazamine?
Yeah, it's an anti-anxiety drug related to benzodiazepine. It's a minor tranquilizer used to treat things like depression, autonomic ataxia, and aporioneurosis and things like that. Besides its calming and antidepressant properties, it's also known for its anticonvulsant effect.
Anticonvulsant effect?
Yeah.
So in other words, it can help keep your hands from shaking.
Yeah, I guess so.
This could be useful.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. I just thought that if I took this drug when I used a sniper rifle, it'd help make my aim steadier.
Oh, I see. That's an interesting idea. I think it might work. Give it a try.
The BTR-152 is an armored personnel carrier that was first developed in 1948. The design was based on the ZIL-151, a medium-sized 6-axle truck. It was supposedly created primarily for use in motorized rifle divisions. Besides the standard 2-man crew, it can carry up to 17 fully armed personnel in its personnel transport chamber.
Snake, have you ever seen North by Northwest?
Missed that one.
It's about this ordinary guy who runs an ad agency. He's mistaken for someone else and gets kidnapped and forced to do a certain job. As a result, he gets tangled up in a conspiracy, and pretty soon he's traveling to New York, Chicago, and even Mount Rushmore in pursuit of the real culprit. Hitchcock's films always keep you on the edge of your seat, but sometimes they can be funny when you least expect it. That's why I love them.
Have you seen all of his films?
All of them? Oh, not even close. He's been making movies since before I was born. I guess I might have seen some of them on TV. But the first movie I ever saw in the theater was a Hitchcock film. We all went and saw it as a family. It was Rebecca.
This was when you were a kid?
Yeah, my parents loved watching movies, so they took me along. I didn't quite understand the plot, but for some reason I thought it was really scary. Actually, I remember the candy bar they bought me on the way home better than the movie itself.
That's when you fell in love with movies?
You could say that. It was like an irresistible force at that point. I was completely swept away.
The MiGs the boss called in are probably MiG-21s, a Soviet frontline fighter. They can be equipped with rocket pods and bombs for air-to-ground attacks.
Hey, Snake, have you ever seen Frankenstein?
No.
The scientist, Dr. Frankenstein, succeeds in creating a human being out of dead body parts. But his creation escapes from the laboratory and heads down to the nearby town. The creature is physically strong, but mentally he's like an innocent child. So his emotions drive him to kill people, and he doesn't even understand what he's doing. The scene where he's playing with flowers with a little girl by the side of a lake sent chills down my spine.
A classic tale about the dangers of rapid scientific progress. When human beings become too powerful, they lose their ability to think rationally.
Really makes you think, doesn't it? Especially nowadays.
Wait a second.
What is it?
The higher my stamina, the faster my battery recharges?
That's what I said.
But what does my stamina have to do with the battery?
Oh, yes, I see what you're getting at. Let's have Paramedic explain that. Paramedic?
Yes, sir. It's because Snake's battery uses bioelectricity.
Bioelectricity.
Bioelectricity is electricity emitted from cells. When the cells of living things are stimulated, sodium and potassium ions move rapidly through the cell membrane's ion channel, creating a difference in electric potential. The battery uses that energy to recharge. So unless your cells have plenty of nutrients, the recharge won't work well.
Amazing the kind of machines that are available now.
But this machine has not been made public. It was designed by a scientist at the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology.
What kind of person was he?
The person who designed it?
Yeah.
I heard he was pretty strange.
Stranger than the Major?
There's nothing strange about the Major.
My tea's gone. Who drank it? How am I supposed to have tea time without tea?
Well, not too strange, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my scone's gone too.
Snake, do you know what epinephrine is?
What's with the questions?
Well, do you?
No.
Also known as adrenaline?
Never heard of it.
Really?
Nope.
I have.
Good for you.
Do you want to hear about it?
Not really.
Oh, I think you should hear about it.
Here we go.
So, epinephrine is a type of hormone. It's secreted from the adrenal glands in high-stress situations, like when you're exercising or you're under pressure. The epinephrine is released into the bloodstream and stimulates special receptor cells on various organs throughout the body. This causes the heart to beat faster, the blood vessels to constrict, and the respiratory passages to expand. It also raises blood pressure. You ever notice how you're faster and stronger than normal when you're under stress? That's because of epinephrine, and when you're bleeding, it...
Paramedic.
Yeah.
Is there a point to all of this?
Of course. In the alert phase, your body secretes epinephrine, and so your stamina won't be depleted as fast.
Uh-huh.
There. Good thing I told you, huh?
As always, Major, what's this temptation Eva was talking about?
In the Old Testament of the Bible, Eve was seduced by a snake into tasting the fruit of knowledge. By eating the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve disobeyed God's command and were cast out from the Garden of Eden. Thus, it was the snake who led mankind into original sin.
Come to think of it, I did break a rib in the virtuous mission. Maybe that's where Eva came from.
But the one who tempted Adam into eating the forbidden fruit was Eve. You may be working together, but she's still a KGB operative. Don't let your guard down.
I don't intend to.